The LSU Color Guard is a part of the LSU Tiger Band, which has approximately 325 people in it, and the Color Guard is the flag spinning unit consisting of 26 to 32 women who are also students at LSU. It was established in 1971 by the then Tiger Band director, William F. Swore. The Color Guard's initial purpose was to make Tiger Band bigger. The first 12 members of the Color Guard were already existing members of Tiger Band. They originally carried instruments and flags during the band's march down Victory Hill and played their instruments in the stands during the football games. The present-day Color Guard carries only a flag down the hill and during their halftime and pregame performances. Throughout the years of the Color Guard, the uniforms have endured many changes, ultimately arriving today at the purple and gold velvet jumper the team wears for every game.
This is one of the first uniforms the team has ever held. It was a very tight and short outfit, which was possible because during the 1970s, the Color Guard only held flags. They were not the skilled performers that we see today, so they did not require all of the mobility today's uniforms require.
In 1982, the LSU Color Guard uniforms changed from the short white skirts as seen in the 70s. The shirts were long-sleeved in yellow with the tiger on the top left. They wore purple skirts that fell right above their knees, and it had gold sequins around the bottom. These uniforms were much more in style in the 80s because they were a little more modest than the previous uniforms. During this time, the Color Guard began to actually perform routines that involved flag spinning, so they no longer only held the flags by a belt on their uniforms.
The uniforms changed again in 1983. The LSU Color Guard wore a purple and gold jumper. The pants were purple with gold sequins down the side, and the top was purple with gold sequins on the front. With time, the uniforms continued to become more modest because that was what was considered appropriate during this time period.
The LSU Color Guard was co-ed from 1984 to 1986, which is why the uniform gravitated towards a more unisex look. This uniform could easily work for a male or a female, and that was the main goal during this time period because the team now included men. During this time, the auxiliary unit expanded to include a rifle line that was primarily composed of men. However, there were 3 or 4 female members. Female members were still the only ones who spun the flags. Today, the Guard remains all female, but with a good number of young men expressing interest, that might not be the case forever.
With the distinction of Color Guard from the band, the original members of the Color Guard were determined to perform in their new roles to the best of their abilities. The tapered style pants were increasingly popular in the late 80s and the early 90s. This tapered style is shown in the uniform of the Color Guard during this time. The bright gold shiny material also became very popular in the early 90s. The metallic gold style continued in the Color Guard uniform up to their current uniforms.
The Color Guard's performance takes a lot of effort for all its members. The Color Guard practices for hours a week, both with the band and as an individual section. The Color Guard makes their performances look easy, however, they take a lot of coordination and practice. The captains of the Color Guard give their opinion for what they want for uniforms, however, the band director has the final say in uniform design. Since this picture was taken in 2004, the uniforms have minimally changed in comparison to what they look like today. The only major changes that have happened since then is the modification of the neckline and the width of the pants.
The uniform in 2011 had very few changes made to it from the earlier 2000s. The largest difference in the uniforms was the removal of the neck piece. The removal of this piece could be due to many things. One being the fact that a tight neck piece could limit the mobility of the Color Guard, making it a little harder for them to do their routines. Another reason is likely that the choker was not in style in 2011 opposed to the early 2000s when that was a more popular look. Good with it highlighted.
Today's uniforms are also very similar to the other 2 uniforms from the 2000s because there haven't been very many significant changes to the uniform since then. The uniforms today have a different neckline than the 2011 V-cut. Ultimately, the color guard uniforms have changed a significant amount through history, and the color guard itself has changed a lot through history. The guard went from young women who stood and held flags to now performing during football games and also performing for winter guard, which is indoor competitive color guard. Sadly, the color guard does not receive very much recognition, but they have a fascinating history and have seen some interesting changes to their uniforms.